My desk is a huge mess. Dan the plumber is here, and Arnold is here. Okay, so we have an A1278 today that apparently does not charge or turn on. So, first thing we're going to do is confirm that. So we're going to open the lid. We're going to plug in the charger. I notice they have a band-aid over the webcam. That's funny. Look at this. There's a band-aid over the webcam. That's pretty funny. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. Alright. So if we plug in the charger, it's probably going to work, as with everything. So, plug in the charger. Notice we get a green light. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so we get green light in the charger. Obviously it doesn't turn on. I'll take the board out instead of showing you guys. It's going to be kind of hard to position the microscope to see the green light. So we are going to get a Phillips and take off the bottom case screws. Let me get a little parts holder. I don't want to lose those screws. Tony Tone is here. Let me reposition this camera, because you guys cannot see anything. There. Tony, don't replace SMCs for no reason, and that camera's gonna fall. What the heck? Come on. There, stay. Perfect. Okay. Alright, let's take the screws out of the bottom case. Out of the board. First, let's unplug the battery. Then, unplug all the connectors. Yes, you do need a fume extractor. You should not be doing this work without a fume extractor. Absolutely not. You need a fume extractor. A dust mask is not going to stop a lot of the junk from the flux. It's just going to pass right through it. Dust mask is 100% different from flux fumes. Or dust is 100% different from flux fumes. One last screw, then the board is out. Why don't you turn on? You don't even look that bad. Okay, so the first thing that we always do before looking at schematics or measuring power rails is give the board a brief overview. So this is our SMC area, and you notice that our SMC reset chip looks kind of nasty, but the thing is, we have a green light, so we know that SMC reset L is okay. But if corrosion, see how this is all corroded, see how under the SMC is kind of corroded, see how liquid definitely got under the SMC? That could definitely cause the board not to turn on. So keep going over the board. We have a little bit of corrosion right here, a little bit of junk. That's not a terrible thing though. That wouldn't concern me. That's not, corroding any pads or anything. It's just junk there. How does our clock area look? Clock area looks okay. So most likely, we just have some junk under the SMC and a little localized reflow. This area will fix this. I'll replace this reset chip too, because these will sometimes fail, and then I bet this will turn on. So the first things first is let's see if it turns on out of the enclosures because we don't know if there's an issue, with a trackpad or something, and you see it does not. So first rail we're going to go ahead and check is going to be PP bus G3 hot. I just want to see if that's 12.23 or 12.56 because oftentimes if we have a green light though, generally it's not going to be 12.23 or 12.26. Sometimes, rarely, if there is an SMC data line issue, you will get a strange issue like that, but usually not. So give me 1 second, I'm going to bring the oscilloscope view up. Alright, come on, search for instrument. Okay, so window capture. And you see that is present at 12.6 volts. it's not 12.3 or anything like that. It's 12.6. So chances are SMC communication is good, and the good reflow around the SMC will fix it. So given the fact there was liquid damage there, we're going to go ahead and start right there. So of course, we're going to replace the SMC reset chip and locally, not locally, but just give the SMC a little reflow, and most likely this will work again. So first things first is take the edge bonding off. I'm going to kick on my fume extractor. A lot of people like to use 100 Celsius to take the edge bonding off on the SMC. I don't. What I like to do is, let me take the window capture off. What I like to do is hit the SMC with 430 degree air, and the edge bonding should come right off. So I'm just going to hit this for about just a few seconds. That's all we need. We don't really, if you heat it too much, it's going to get brittle like that. So we don't want to overdo it on the heat. Just like that. We're going to put some flux around it. I'm going to let it cool for a second. And I'll clean around that reset chip with a clock chip. I'll clean around the reset chip with a Q-tip and alcohol, not a clock chip. I'm not making any sense. Yeah, we're going to want to replace that. Okay, so here's most likely our problem right here. So see how that probe point is all just gone? Tony Nash says, "Hey Tim, your turn for MacBook torture." Yes, I will torture MacBook. So this is most likely our issue right here. So see this probe point? See how that's just gone? There's nothing here. It's just there's nothing to connect these. It might be. There might be. But what we're going to do is go ahead and jump that. I think that's for our SMC on-off L line. So we're going to go ahead and remove this. Uh-oh, what happened? Did Lewis share my stream? Is Lewis live and shared my live chat to iPhone 4 people? Yeah, that's most likely what happened. Did the probe point leave to an iPhone 4? Yes, that is exactly what happened. The probe point left to an iPhone 4. Alright, I don't want to really, is this a good board to steal stuff off of? Alright, so I'm just going to steal a clock chip off this board. I think I have an iPhone 4 in my office. Let's see if I can find that thing. Yeah, see how that probe point was just non-existent? It was gone. And shoot, I did not wear gloves. I'm supposed to wear gloves now. Gotta remember to wear gloves. What board is that you're working on? This is a 820-3115. iPhone was non-existent. iPhone exists. iPhone 4 is somewhere else though. Pure Novice here, and Cormac is here. A little bit too much solder on that center pad for my liking. That's good enough. Clean this up with a little bit of a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip. So see that probe point? Yeah, that was our issue. That's probably why this board wasn't turning on or charging. So we get a nice little amount of flux there. Let's get a new clock chip. A reset chip. I always mix the two up. Or at least today I did. Trader is here. Whoa, I just blew the thing away. Where did it go? Where did I blow the reset chip to? Is it still on the board, or do I have to get a new one? I have to get a new one. No fun. I didn't want to have to get a new clock chip. Oh wait, here it is. Is this an iPhone 4? It's close enough to an iPhone 4. That's okay, Adam. Not that much. Not that much cancer. Alright, is this the right orientation? I think so. Yep. So now what we have to do is complete that little trace there. There's a trace that is missing, and we have to fix that. So grab a little bit of jumper wire. We're going to make a little jumper, and then this fan is going to spin. That's not a very good solder joint, so we're of course going to touch that up a little bit better. Just like that. And now if we plug in the charger, we're probably going to get a spinning fan. So this is our fan, if anyone hasn't noticed. And the fan still doesn't spin. That's no fun. That's really no fun. Is the fan plugged in? Okay, so who can tell me what's the first rail we need to check now? We have 3v42 obviously, and we have PP bus. What rail should we start checking? Anthony says hi is a traitor. That is 100% correct. So one thing that I'm going to check, since the customer did complain that the charger light was not going to orange, is our high side current sensing. And these pins are in spec. And those pins are in spec. So now it's going to be going down the list of power rails and figuring out which one is not coming on. And most of these look good. So the first rail I'm going to jump to is going to be PM Sleep S4L. Most likely we're going to have missing PM Sleep S4L from who knows what. Our clock chip looks okay. We had some flux spill over there. I doubt that clock chip is bad. Just have a little visual overview. Maybe there's some obvious problem, but no. Okay, so I'm going to have to go through the power rails now. So first one is going to be PP5VS5. I'm going to plug it in, see which one is missing. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be a short on 5VS3 or something. So I'm going to just reflow all the main chips as a test. No, I am not doing that. So I'm going to open a board view for an 820-3330 or 30115. We're going to have a look. So I know where most of these are, so PP5VS5. Let's see if this works. Of course it doesn't, because I have to restart the software. Software's a real pain, honestly. But I will... And now it doesn't want to work. It's giving me an error. Now why is that? There we go. So PP5VS5 is present. I have a little bit of voltage drop there, not too bad though. So we know that's not our issue. So the next one is going to be PP3V3S5. I think that's going to show up right over here. I could be mistaken. So I'm going to double check on the board view. So that is going to be... Yeah, I was correct. So PP3V3S5. Hit the button on the scope so it'll read it. And that is present. You guys can't see that because it's the stupid software is screwing up. Let's see. Is there a way I could adjust this in the software? I can't. Oh well, but it is present. So now we're most likely going to have a PM Sleep S4L issue. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that next. That is going to show up on R7911 right over here. And most likely this is going to be 0 volts, because it always is, because I don't really get easy boards. And it's actually in the millivolts. Okay, so PM Sleep S4L is starting to come up. It's just really low. So most likely... Alright, so let's pretty much at this point it could be anything. It could be clock, it could be RTC. I mean, it could be clock, it could be BIOS. And BIOS area looks pretty good. So I don't think we're gonna have a problem here. But if liquid, so wonder if one of these VIAs or something right here can do it. I kind of doubt it. A really common issue on the 3330 or 3115 is RTC voltage that's not making it to the PCH. So you may be getting it created, however you're not actually getting it to the PCH. And I'm going to show you guys right now why that is. So we have a VIA right over here. I think it's going to be on I think it's this cap right here. I think it's actually this cap that PP3v3, PP whatever it is, RTC goes right here. Now, this looks fine, so I doubt this is going to be the issue. I'm going to check real quick and see if that's there. And then I'll check 32 kilohertz from our clock chip. And we have 3.3 volts there. So now what I'm going to do is check our 32 kilohertz clock signal from the clock chip with the oscilloscope. This I will mess with the software to show you guys because it's kind of important. That flux just spilled over from our SMC, I believe. One second here. So we're going to measure on pin 12 of U2600, which is sysclock, clock, RTC, clock 32K RTC. And that's going to go right to our PCH, and that's going to show up right over here on this pin. Come on, show me the right one. Give me 1 second. People are pushy sometimes. It's been since yesterday, and you already want a status update? Okay, what was I doing? Oscilloscope view, right. Okay. Let me get the right one up here. Why is this not working? I don't understand that. Alright, let me restart the stupid program because it crashed. Okay, now hopefully this will work. There we go, finally. Okay, so 32 kilohertz from our clock chip is present, as you can see. It's at 32 kilohertz, it looks okay, so that is likely not our issue. I'm not saying that our clock chip, this still may be bad, but it is not likely our issue. So that means my job just got a lot harder, because now we have to figure out why we don't have PM Sleep S4L. And it's not likely going to be an easy one. So, talking about PM Sleep S4L missing. So, PM Sleep S4L is going to be a signal from the integrated power management controller of our PCH. What this is it's going to wake the computer from an S4 state. It is in an S4 state now, and it can't get out of it. So, things that can cause this, it could be anything. It's BIOS, and this board looks pretty clean. There's only a few areas of corrosion that we resolved. So we could pretty much have an issue with anything at this point. It could be a dead PCH or a dead CPU, something like that. I kind of doubt it. So maybe this junk right here is messing with something. I kind of doubt it. But we're going to clean that with a Q-tip. And then hopefully our ultrasonic cleaner will get hot. And we could run this board through the ultrasonic. This is one of the ones the ultrasonic will most likely fix. At least that's what I think. I don't know. Another possibility is we have a short in, as Arnold said, a short in a rail downstream. Usually, though, that'll present by power cycling and not. Then again, we had some corrosion by our audio circuit right here, so let's check PP5VS3 for a short. And no short there. No pulse. I'm plugging in MagSafe. I haven't really checked yet, pure enough. I kind of don't. It's kind of a pain. I kind of think ultrasonic will fix this. Alright, see how that junk is still under the SMC? Has not really got washed out. So what we can try is reballing the SMC. We could try putting a new one on. We could try another reflow, as that junk is most likely still interfering with communication. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try another final reflow, since it's just some sticky garbage in there, and hopefully we can get some results with some more flux. Whenever you get like sugary liquid under the SMC like that, that's not going to be good for communication. Put a dime on it when you reflow. There is no point in that. So if you saw, I don't know how good the microscope view is, there's a lot of junk just washing out of that. So I'm pretty confident after ultrasonic this will be okay. The ultrasonic still isn't hot. Could be one of these vias too. So we're going to touch up some of these vias. Yeah, see this area under, you know what, I think we should reball this thing. The SMC is likely fine, but you see all these traces under here, so what I'm gonna do, I'll wait for ultrasonic. I don't know if this is just garbage or if that's copper and stuff. I think it's just garbage, I don't think. What? Why is my iron still in sleep? There we go. Chris Long is here. Yeah, still no fan spin. So most likely, what should we do? Should we reball the SMC? No, I want to avoid that. So I'm going to ultrasonic this once the cleaner gets hot, and then come back to it. I guess let's take off the heatsink, and see if there's anything obvious under there. SMC looked off. When it was flat on the board, I pulled the SMC and had no solder balls. Who messed with that thing? What did they just... reballed an ultrasonic? Fine. Thing under our CPU? Nope. CPU looks... Alright, I'll reball the SMC. Why not? I don't like doing that, but I'll reball the SMC. Probably should anyway. Okay. Are you kidding me? I always do nonsense like this. It never fails. Alright. So now I have to clean the mess I made. But this doesn't look too bad, honestly. Probably better to reball it, though. The SMC is still right here, but that was not fun to... Alright, so let's work on the board area first. This is all Miles' fault. If he wouldn't have told me to reball the SMC, then this never would have happened. This isn't a micro pencil, Anthony. No, I'm too cheap to buy a micro pencil. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a donor board. Should I just replace the SMC? I doubt that SMC is bad, so. Did I miss reballing? Not yet, Nasara. I'll do it right now. I'm about to do it right now. What you did miss is a bunch of components being knocked off by some moron with shaky hands. Put it in the ultrasonic while you reball. That's not gonna work. So this area I was a little bit concerned about, but it looks like it was just junk and not the actual traces. But if there's that much junk under there, then I know that that SMC, you know, I'm debating whether I should reball or replace it, but I don't think I have a very trustable 3115 SMC, so I'll just reball the old one and hope it works. So let's move our board and start work on the chip. And I just dropped my jumper wire. And it rolled all the way under the counter, so that could stay there. That's funny, a cap landed when I knocked off one of the chip got knocked off, a cap landed right here. That's funny. Now, Anthony is a Swedish troll. Yeah, I don't believe that don't believe anything. He even has a very interesting license plate. Alright, so you see all this junk on those pads? That was not making good contact. You can see all the now the flux typically won't turn into this. The flux won't turn into this junk like that. And you see all that on the pads or under the pads? That clearly was not making good contact. So most likely this is why we weren't turning on. The chip is likely fine. These don't die usually. These die a lot if you unplug the battery with using some metal tool, and it shorts the 12-volt battery line to your SM bus line. That will kill this chip, but usually not liquid. Once in a while you'll get one that's killed by liquid, but alright, now to reball this thing. Most likely I'll screw it up, as always. That always happens. Wait a second here. Before reballing it, I want to touch these up, because if you don't, what's going to happen is these aren't going to have balls on them. You see these two pads? It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but there's two dry pads right here. So what I'm going to do is tin all of these and make sure that they accept solder, which they should. See how those wouldn't initially? We want to make sure these are going to accept solder. There's like a layer of oxidation on it, and if we reball it, it's just going to turn into a mess. I never use solder paste for this Cormac except for reballing it. I don't know. We all have our own ways. I just want to make sure all these are going to accept solder, so it doesn't turn into a big mess when I try and reball it. See, like this one, if you put a ball on that, it's not going to combine. I thought you needed a stencil for this. You do. I'm just touching up the pads, then I'll grab the stencil and put the actual balls on it. Sometimes you'll get a chip like this one that just one pad will not take solder, so what I'm going to do is kind of clean it off. And see this junk this is the flux that's in the solder, and that's what you have to watch out sometimes. That's why it always helps to have some additional flux, because or else it'll turn into this just garbage. And the flux in solder tends to break down a lot quicker than something like Amtech. Some fluxes have a lot shorter active time than the rest. or than others, I should say. Put it in sonic or alcohol and heat. That's not necessary right now. I think I used all the Kester. The solder I have actually had a little bit more flux in it. This may actually be the Kester right now, I don't know. I just put it on the same reel. The Kester was definitely, it wasn't bad though. I mean, the one that I use, I don't know what brand it is, but it's from the 1990s, so. Chip keeps moving because there's flux under it. There, so now we're good to clean up all the flux on the chip and go ahead and put fresh balls on it. So we'll have to wick it first, but same principle. Just had to make sure all the pads are going to accept solder so it won't turn into a complete mess when I do reball it. Grab the stencil, and then you guys can laugh at me as I try and reball this chip. Clean that one little solder ball out of here. I don't want any. I have to get Captain tape, tape it down. I've never bothered to get a clamp for this. This seems easy enough. Aligning it is a pain though. Yeah, I hate doing these. Take off these stupid gloves so I can do it properly. Much better. This is the hardest part of the whole job right here, is getting the balls aligned like this. And from what I see, the chip is not straight. What I'm going to do is try and nudge it a little bit. Couldn't you put tape on the stencil first? I could. I don't know why I didn't do that. I've just always done it this way, so. What I should do is just buy a clamp. The thing about stuff like that is you tend to forget about it after you do an SMC, so you never think of ordering it until it's um, time to do another one. That is perfect. So now I'm going to get my solder paste. See a lot of people that only like doing these with dry solder paste, but I had the complete opposite experience. Tim, where do you get the clamp from? I have no idea. eBay or something? This is the best part. Spreading the solder paste on the stencil. Now, Sarah, you'll like doing these, or you'll like seeing these until you actually try one, and then you're gonna hate doing them or seeing them. So I'm gonna go at about 15% air, and we'll go around 330 degrees Celsius. If we use too much air and, come on, stupid phone. Okay, I'm back. Phone is annoying. Alright. So we don't want to go in too fast or else the balls are just going to jump out. And we don't want to go in too hot for the same exact reason. So I'm just going to start with heat from far away. And this is going to turn into a mess, I could already tell. Yeah, this was a fail. This was a fail. What are you guys even talking about in chat? Makes zero sense. Yeah, this was a complete fail. I'd reballing. Yeah, look at this mess. Okay, so now what we can do is, it's not that bad. I mean, it looks like a joke, but... So we have a couple that we didn't get, so we'll go ahead and just add a few balls right there. I don't like this one. We wrote Tim a song in Discord. That is interesting to say the least. So I'm just going to add a few solder balls by hand there. And at least people in chat can have an entertaining experience watching me attempt to reball. Okay. 0.40 millimeter solder balls here. This is the reason why when people ask, can you train me in this and that? This is why I tell them, no, trust me, you do not want me to train you. This is the exact reason why I say that. And the sad thing is this probably isn't even going to work after because it's going to have corrosion under the PCH, and reballing this was a total nightmare. Come on, stay. Are you kidding me? Look what I just did. I flipped the chip over, or the chip flipped over, and it screwed up everything while it was still liquid. Yeah, what a joke. Yeah, I'm a moron. And I did it again. So now I have to go put balls everywhere where I screwed up, which is several places. I want to look at the chip this way. Yeah, see, those two are going to be too big. Misbehaving chip? No, I just don't know what I'm doing half the time. That's the real problem. Or, you know what? Should I just... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to wick all... Instead of putting the balls down, which is going to turn into a nightmare, I'm just going to redo it. I don't know why some people call and ask if I sell strange stuff like USB adapters for hard drives and stuff. It's like, what makes you think I would have that? I don't. Nowhere on the website does it say that. Nowhere does it say I sell MacBooks. And what's even worse is when people get mad at you because you don't sell something. Like I get calls saying, "Well, do you sell MacBooks?" And no, I do not. And then they get angry at you because you don't sell them. And it's like, what makes you think? It would be one thing if my website said that I sell MacBooks and I said I didn't, but it doesn't say anything like that. So I don't get people sometimes. I kind of have to clean the stencil up a little bit. Yeah, with local people, if see what a lot of people come in is they come in acting entitled. They come in and act rude, and the thing is I tend not to deal with those people. If you're gonna act rude, you can go to the shop down the street. It's simple as that. I'm not gonna deal with you if you act rude. No audio? There's audio. Okay, attempt number 2. Wait, there's still some junk in the stencil. Yeah, most of the business is mail-in here, and I think I want to keep it that way. Local is just a pain. Oh, okay, nice audio. That makes sense. No, the audio is just fine. I've listened to the audio plenty of times. No one is forcing you to watch. Is your business mail-in only? No, it's local and mail-in. I don't really advertise locally, but it's mail-in and local. But I've been debating on making it mail-in only lately. It's just a pain with retail, just people. I mean, so, you'll get people at 9 a.m. say, "Oh, you're calling," and say, "Well, your door is locked." Yes, the door is locked. Now, what does the door say? It says 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, and you're here at 9 a.m. It's just a lot of people lack complete common sense, and it's just generally a pain. You tell some person it's going to take 3 to 5 days to fix it, and they think they're entitled. Well, 3 to 5 days. What do you mean 3 to 5 days? It's going to take 3 to 5 days to fix it. It's simple as that. Oh well, I'm going to go find somewhere else. Good luck. Go find somewhere else. People is what makes any job suck. That is absolutely correct. So that's what I'm thinking. It's been busy with mail-in. Um, so I may just, I don't know. The thing is, if people weren't so rude, it would be 100% different. You could not walk into a service-based business and act rude and inspect and expect service. It's simple as that. You know, if I walked into some place and just started being rude out of nowhere, it's like, well, you know, what's wrong with you to even do that? That's what I don't understand is what in your mind thinks that you can just walk into my store and treat me just terrible. No, get out. I had a customer today who wanted to make me compensate him for the long drive he had to pick up his repaired microwave. He even had to borrow a microwave for the time he was gone. Oh well, that's life. You know, as far as, not on your part, but on that guy's part. No, I'm not going to compensate anyone either. You're not going to get a discount for having to drive here. You're not going to get special service. I mean, I think there might be a customer here. Nope. So what did you end up telling that guy, Nasara? Just, I'm sure you told him no on that. It's silly if you thought otherwise. And then I'm guessing he had a fit too. Yeah, exactly. It's his choice where to live. You know, he could have brought the microwave somewhere else. You know. See, if someone came to me and said, "Well, I drove a long way, and you're gonna pay me for my drive so you can work on my computer," I would have told him, "You know what? You drove all that way here, and you expect me to compensate you for coming here? No, you can drive back, and I'm not gonna work on your stuff because people like that are always gonna turn out to be a nightmare customer. When they come in rude like that, it almost always um, they almost always turn out to be a nightmare customer that calls every single day and just nonsense like that. How many followers do how many followers do I get before notification you're streaming? That's on YouTube. Alright, let's try one more time. I'm trying to keep more even heat. I don't want those jumping out. I don't want them combining. No. You're gonna get out of here. You are not gonna mess up my... Much better. See, that's a nice happy SMC. There's nothing wrong with that SMC now. So the balls are still going to be liquid. You can see they're just starting to harden. So now I can take the stencil off. Justin, do you have notifications on my channel? If you don't, that would explain it. So now I'm just going to use about 100 Celsius air and pull this chip off. There, and that looks much better. But the thing is when you reball an SMC, you always get these little, let's see, those little solder blobs. So what I'm going to do is just remove these, and then what I'll do is get a little bit of this flux remover. Yeah, so see all these? This is kind of unavoidable, or at least with the solder paste that I have. So you can obviously heat that up as you're going to get bridge. So what I'm going to do is let that sit in there, and I'm going to grab a toothbrush and clean that up. Another thing you can do is just stick it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Either or, whatever works. And we're good. That SMC looks perfectly fine. Getting it right in 2 tries is impressive. No, that's more embarrassing. I usually get them first try. It's all chance, honestly, with these things. Sometimes it's just chance. Sometimes you'll get a perfect one, then sometimes you won't get a perfect one. This board probably isn't going to work because I think there's junk under the PCH. But maybe I'll get lucky. I've only seen these get done right when they get passed on to someone else after 3 or 4 tries. Usually Paul ends up doing these, I'd imagine. I always troll Lewis about his soldering. Mine is equally as bad most of the time. And is our fan going to spin? Do you have a college degree? Heck no. And of course, the fan still does not spin because that wasn't our issue. Alright, so I'm going to see if the ultrasonic is hot, and hopefully the ultrasonic will fix this thing. And the ultrasonic is hot enough, so this is going to go in the magic ultrasonic cleaner, and hopefully we'll get a fan spin when it comes out. Now, to do board repair, you do not need a college degree. There are certain things you do need a college degree, or should you have a college degree for, but board repair is not one of them. Same thing about training. I never really recommend training and tutoring and stuff to people. They'll ask, well, do you offer training, or who do you recommend to get trained through? And the answer is yourself. Seriously, self-learning and experience. Just start messing with boards, and that's how you'll get experience. Alright, well, that's in the cleaner. I'm going to go to another one to clean my mess a little bit. How do you ultrasonic MacBooks with touch bar? I don't really get many touch bars, so that's not a concern. Most of the stuff I get is Airs. 2013 to 2017 Airs. And I like it that way. I hate working on touch bars. Generally, I'll put just part of the board in. It just depends. Do you use your oscilloscope a lot? I use it. The meter is quicker, but I do use the oscilloscope a pretty good amount. Always like to try and keep a clean work area, especially between jobs. I don't know how some people can have their workstation cluttered and dirty, and it's just not. Alright, so we're going to go back to another one that I was working on the other day. This one has no image. It may have a bad LCD or it could be a board issue. We were missing one of the enable lines from the PCH. But the thing is, if our LCD isn't being detected, that is likely the case. We're not going to get that enable. So we could have a bad LCD or we could have a bad LVDS connector. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to try and figure this out. So I've already measured our 3.3 volt LCD switch line. We know that doesn't work. So no image on 3115s. There's a few issues that these are affected by. Most commonly is a blown filter. So commonly we'll get one of these inductors. Let me go switch that board. Yeah, either I have to flip the board in the ultrasonic soon, so I'll do this quick. So typically we'll get a blown inductor. This is a really common one. So is this one. Sometimes this one. It all just depends. I'm going to look at this LCD connector under the. I didn't even show you guys. Alright, so these both are common right here to blow. And that connector looks perfectly fine. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, people in Discord are going crazy. So I'm going to go check these inductors real quick. That one's good, that one's good. Yeah, so this is the board that went on fire. I don't know what this blob is right here. It does not look like it's supposed to be there. See? It's just ground. so we're going to go ahead and look at our image enable circuit. I don't think this chip is bad, I guess. You know what, water did get over there. Guess I could just change that just to roll it out. Since we won't really know if that's the cause of it without changing it, we might as well change that and roll it out. If I could find the board with that chip on it. Don't worry about melting this stupid thing. The Ethernet, whatever that thing is. I've had people complain about that. Come back and say, oh, well, look what you did. You melted this thing. It's like, oh well. Bad cap next to coil. I'll check it. Need some wick. Rarely we may have a crack or something in a pin in the LVDS. That's kind of unlikely, but it's always possible. Yeah, I'll check these caps. What diameter is your tip? I have no idea. 0.2 millimeter, I think? I don't know. It's exactly what it is, a T15 JSO2. So what we're going to do is go look at the schematic on this. Once I pull it up. Yeah, 0.2, I have no idea if that's correct or not. You'd have to look at the spec sheet. Okay, so here's our LCD image circuit. So we notice we have a few. Wait a second. How do you zoom in Paul Daniels software? Control scroll doesn't work. There we go. Okay, so this is U9000. This is just what we just replaced. So what we notice is we have a few lines going through here. So for one, we have on. This is going to be the enable circuit. We have V in, which is voltage in, and voltage out. So voltage out is going to be PP3V3 LCD VDD underscore SW. So we know we're not getting this out. This is 0 volts. So obviously this goes to the LCD. All of these LVDS data, these are all your image lines. This is going to talk to the PCH and the CPU for graphics. Backlight, we need image for backlight, so we're not even going to worry about backlight. So most likely we know we need voltage in, so if we don't have voltage in, nothing is going to work. So this is for PP3B3S5. It's unlikely that that is missing because the board turns on. And then there's LCD IG power EN. Most likely we're going to be missing the enable. Missing the enable is not going to be fun because most likely that is going to be a dead PCH. However, if this is just an enable signal, I think that's either going to be a 3.3 volt or a 3.3 volt or 1.8 volt enable line, and we could just jump that. So not 100% sure on that. So we're going to follow this back a little bit more. I think I'll have to do that on the board view. So we see that goes right to R1984, which is going to be a pull-up. And you see that goes right to the PCH. So we could have a bad trace between there and the resistor. So one thing we can check is the resistor. If that's missing, or if this is blown, or the trace is blown between here and U9000, U9000, then it's not going to work. So what is R1984 supposed to be? I'm going to do a PDF search, and that's 100K. So we're going to measure that once I figure out how to work OBS properly. So R1984 is going to be, where is it here? It's going to be right here, and that VI looks pretty good, so I doubt that's a problem. And that's 78 ohms, so most likely that is good. So at this point, it was either that chip or a dead PCH or a bad LCD. So then the customer is going to flip if I tell him his LCD is bad. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the enclosure after that chip replacement, and we're going to see if it works. Yeah, some customers are going to flip if you tell them their LCD is bad, because the thing is if I give this back to him, it's a store, and I tell him his LCD is bad, but you're going to open a couple doors. One, they may say that the board was fine all along and the LCD was the issue and you're trying to scam them. Or if if you're being nice to them and say, well, order the LCD, change it, and then, if there's, let me know if it works, and then pay me for the board. Sometimes people will do that, and you're probably just not going to get paid. Or that they're not going to want to pay you until they see it works with the LCD, or, it's just some people. Giving someone something back without them paying is kind of defeating the purpose for them to pay altogether. And it works. It was that chip. So yeah, that was just that chip was bad and causing the enable to screw up. So yeah, this is fixed. So I'll go ahead and put this back together. Ah, that was surprising. I did not think that would be the issue, because the enable wasn't even present. So if if the enable wasn't present, I wouldn't even think that chip would be bad. I measured it the other day, and the enable was not present. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean my flux. Let me go ahead and take this board out of the ultrasonic. There's a couple other things on that board that I have to address. I did something stupid and didn't hook up PP-Bus to one of the sensors, so I have to do that. You saw maybe the picture I posted in Facebook group with pads ripped off the board? I think I saw that. Not 100% sure. You're doing a good job. Thank you, Sonia. Alright, well, let me see these ripped pads. I will go to... Oh, wow. Yeah, they ruined that poor little board. I have to reply to an email. Let me throw this board in the oven. Okay, now I noticed a couple things on this board. So for one, this via for one of our thermal sensors does not look very good. Fix this. Where's my keyboard? I hate having a wireless keyboard, but I can't really have a wired keyboard. Wireless keyboard, so with a wireless keyboard, I'm either constantly moving it and misplacing it, or I'll set it on my chair and then sit on it and break it. That's happened a couple times. Yeah, wireless keyboards are a pain. Yeah, so this was a really stupid idiot mistake right here. So what I did is I did not connect PP-Bus to that resistor. So I'm going to do that now. So this sensor is obviously not going to work. Scraping away the coating on this via. And I need jumper wire. Some pads have connections, and how do I fix a chip again to the board? Well, with that, you're not going to. You have to dead bug it. What I mean by that is you are going to tip the chip upside down, pay attention to orientation, put the chip obviously like I just said, upside down. I'm repeating stuff, so my brain is broken. And then you're going to run wires to each pin of the chip. It is no fun. Alright, so gotta clean this, conformal coat. Yeah, debugging chips is no fun. Unless you have an assistant. Then if you have an assistant, what you're going to do is give the board to the assistant and have the assistant run wires to each pin of the chip. That is a much, much more practical way than doing it yourself. Send it to Deadbug Master Chris Long. Yes, that is correct. Or Paul, either one. So now that's dry, what I'm going to do is conformal coat, as always. Put some green stuff on it. And the green stuff will make it work again. Not really. Green stuff in and of itself won't make it work again. Now we have green stuff. We're going to UV laser this. Debugging TriStar, debugging TriStar, that sounds like a pain. What is that stuff? Green stuff. That stuff is green stuff. It's like a tooth filling for a MacBook, only different. Nice and hardened. I'll take another picture for when I update my website. The pictures on my website are all like a year old or 6 months old. I always like to keep my website nice and clean and updated, so I'm going to have an update going out pretty soon. So I want to refresh it with some fresh pictures, so I try and take pictures of work like this. Okay, and I think that's it. A little bit more cleaning over here. That's clean enough. Now we reassemble this. Run Apple Service Diagnostic, and if it passes, that means I get money. First though, our other board is done drying, so we're going to see if that other board works. So will this board work? Nope. So what that means is now I'm going to have to go figure out why PM Sleep S4L is missing another time. In the meantime though, I'm going to reassemble this one MacBook. And there was no quarter fan spin, it just didn't work at all. It did quarter fan spin? No. Am I just blind? Fan moved a bit. Okay. Let this maybe... That fan is not moving. I think it was just the board moving. Alright, let me see. Yeah, that didn't... That's not quarter fan spinning. That's dead fan spinning. I think it was just me moving the board on the desk that caused that. You know what? These boards can be a pain sometimes when the speaker isn't right. This speaker actually melted somehow. Um, I don't know how that happened. I don't think I melted it. Usually that'll happen if you ultrasonic the board with the speaker on or something, or bake it with the speaker on, so who knows, maybe this was put in an oven before it got here, because we all know here that ovens are an excellent way to treat corrosion, right? I still don't understand it, just, board is corroded, okay, let's put it in the oven and make it, burning hot, maybe it'll work. I just don't get that. That reflowing nonsense needs to stop. Have to go to sleep. Good night. Thank you, Cormac. Have a good night. Bake the oxidation off works every time. Yeah, sure. I should just start doing that. Liquid damage, I just throw it in the oven for a little bit. Are there screws stuck to the bottom of my speaker? I kind of think there is. Unless they sent it with no bottom case screws as usual. There isn't. That's one thing that absolutely annoys me when people send stuff with no bottom case screws, because what ends up happening is I think I lose the screws, and then I end up either replacing them or going crazy looking for them, thinking I lost them, when in reality they never sent them. I think I'm missing a couple screws. So I'll take some from over here. One second here. And yet again, I did something stupid. So there's this little thing. There's a stupid thing that goes right here. And if you don't put this thing back in, then one of the bottom case screws will not thread. And that's exactly what happened. Think after repairing how many hundreds of these A1278s that I would remember that, but nope. Always little things. Yep, that is 100% true. This is going to get run Apple Service Diagnostic on, as usual. If it works, it passes, I get money. That's a good thing. If it doesn't pass, then I will go work on it more. But this'll pass. I'm confident this'll pass. Just make sure this boots. And why is there no green light now? Hmm. Most likely when I took the board out to check the speaker, the MagSafe plug got dislodged. That's common, so I have to pull these stupid screws off again. Should be pushed in. I don't know what the problem is. Unless my charger died, that's another possibility. Hmm. The phone won't stop ringing. there's been way longer streams than this, but I don't know why doesn't have a green light now. Back when I had my home office, I mean, I would go until really late. 3, 4 hours. Alright, what happened here? Why don't we get any DC in voltage? I can't see why. I don't want to pull this board again. It was just working. It's only been 2 hours, 30 minutes. Alright, I think I'm getting good. I think I'm getting just trolled by my charger now. Let me grab a different MagSafe 1 charger. If I could find a different MagSafe 1 charger. Here's one. Stuff like this is annoying when it happens. You know, the board is working, and then all of a sudden, the DCN board dies as soon as you put all the screws back in. It's just nonsense like that it's always so annoying in this industry. Alright, so even with another charger, it doesn't work, so that means I have to take this thing back apart again. Wonder what could have happened. Of course, I'm going to take the board out and it's going to work perfectly fine, and it would have all been for nothing. Most likely the MagSafe went bad, or it's just not plugged in all the way and I missed that. Use bench power supply. There's no need for that. I use my power supply too often for finding shorts, so. And that's plugged in. I wonder if it just had dirty contacts. And it works out of the enclosure. So I think it just this MagSafe just has dirty contacts. So that was unnecessary taking the board out, but oh well. So we'll clean the contacts. And make sure it works on the first plug-in. And it's better now. So I'll put the board back in the enclosure. Wish the camera was focusing more on the work you're doing. There, that's better. This is a really good live stream. Probably a little bit boring, but thank you. At least the last hour was, because it's been spent putting together this stupid A1278. Yeah, that's right. I wanted to reseat the RAM, because this one kind of went in a little bit funny, and I ignored it. Did you ever get the last freeze boop? No, I have not finished that yet. I'm gonna change the BIOS chip, because my theory is if the flash went bad, maybe there's something wrong with the chip itself that caused that to happen. So I'm gonna do that as soon as the BIOS chip comes. I may try and resolder U9300 too, just while I'm at it. Oh yeah, this was the board that went on fire, literally on stream the other night, if any of you guys were watching. One second here. Alright, what is going on? Why is there still no green light? Alright, so this guy comes in. I notice he's just staring inside my windows, and then starts reading outside out loud all of the signs out loud. And then he comes in and wants a job, and I tell him, no, I'm sorry, I'm not looking for a board tech. I don't know why this still isn't working. It seems like it's not working in the enclosure for some reason. So um he comes in and asks for a job. He says, I'm an electronics engineer and this and that, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not, I just don't, not really hiring. And when someone comes in like that, I'm not definitely not going to hire them. So hang on. So he says, I'm an electronics engineer and this and that, and I can't find a job around here, so can you hire me? I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not not hiring a board tech at this time. And he comes in and wants to see the stuff, and then says, well, okay, well, if you won't hire me, will you hire my son? I said, no, I'm not hiring a job. I'm not hiring a board tech. Oh, but what about just for training, to train him? Sorry. No. Okay, I don't know why this is not. He's casing the joint. I don't know. Some older Pakistani guy. I don't think he is, but you never know. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't working. It won't work in the enclosure. No, I don't think he's looking to break into it. I don't think so. It just doesn't seem like the type. Older man. Says he came to the U.S. and wants a job. And said, sorry, no. All right. So what I'm thinking is going on is either the board is shorting on something, but that's weird. It won't work. Yeah, you'll get people like that. They just, well, I don't get why this won't work in the enclosure. The green light turns on out of the enclosure, but not in the enclosure. That is really strange. Alright, well, either way, I'm going to lunch. This board can not work while I'm gone, and I will get this later. Maybe I'll do another stream later. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. So, what I'm going to do is head out. Everyone have a good day or night, whatever time of day it is, wherever you're at. And I'll see you in the next stream.